Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Sunday night. I almost said Friday night, Sunday night. This is our virtual Read to Me virtual book reading series by Second Stage. I'm Nicole Thompson, the operations manager, and I'm so pleased that you've all joined us tonight to hear the lovely Avery Lewis, who's going to read some of her own poetry and some other works. She is a sophomore at Sweet Briar College. And without further ado, I'd like to turn it over to her. And in the meantime, I see you're all muted, and that's fine. If you could just stay muted, we will have a chance at the end. If you want to offer some comments or questions, that'll be just fine. You can just unmute yourself at that time. But for now, just sit back and enjoy. And that's what I'm going to do too. So thank you very much.
Hello, as Nicole said, I'm Avery Lewis. I have 4 poems by some other authors and 6 of my own poetry. You know what I mean. So the first poem I'll be reading is The More Loving One by W.H. Auden. Looking up at the stars, I know quite well that for all they care, I can go to hell. But on earth, indifference is the least we have to dread from man or beast. How should we like it were stars to burn with a passion for us we could not return? If equal affection cannot be, let the more loving one be me. Admirer as I think I am of stars that do not give a damn, I cannot, now I see them, say I missed one terribly all day. Were all stars to disappear or die, I should learn to look at an empty sky and feel its total dark sublime, but this might take me a little time. Next, I'm going to be reading Letter to a City Under Siege by Carolyn Fortray. Turning the pages of the book you have lent me of your wounded city, reading the braille on its walls, walking beneath ghost chestnuts, past fires that turn the bullet-shattered windows bronze, flaring an instant without warming the fallen houses where you sleep without water or light, a biscuit tin between you. Or later, in the cafe ruins, you discuss all night the burnt literature borrowed from a library where all books met with despair. I wanted to give your notes back to you, to be printed in another language, not yours or mine, but a tongue understood by children who make bulletproof vests out of cardboard. We will then lie down in the cemetery where violets grew in your childhood before snipers fired on the city using gravestones for cover. Friend, absent one, I can tell you that your tunnel is still there, mud-walled and hollowed of earth, dug for smuggling oranges into the city. Oranges, bright as winter moons by the barrow load. So let's walk further up the street, to the hill where no one is able to see the city woven in fog, roofs filled with sky, uprooted bridges, and a shop window where a shard of glass hangs over the spine of a book. The library burns on page 60, as it burns in all the newspapers of the world, and the clopping of horses' hooves isn't the sound of clopping horses. From here, a dog finds his way through snow with a human bone. And what else? What more? Even the clocks have run out of time. But, my good friend, the tunnel. There's still a tunnel for oranges. Next is Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Quick anecdote, when I was in, I think, 9th grade, I was part of the National English Honor Society at my school, and we made a cookbook, and that was like literature-themed recipes, and we sold that. And they said, oh, for the recipe you put like a short little like microfiction or poem you like. So most of the people I knew wrote like a short something about cookies, and I put this poem in. And it doesn't fit a cookbook at all. So this is Fire and Ice by Robert Frost. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From what I've tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of hate to say that for destruction, ice is also great and would suffice. Next is Domestic Mysticism by Lucy Brock-Broido. In thrice 10,000 seasons, I will come back to this world in a white cotton dress. Kingdom of after my own heart, kingdom of fragile, kingdom of dwarves. When I come home, teacups will quiver in their Dresden saucers, pentatonic chimes will move in wind. A covey of alley cats will swarm on the side porch and perch there, portents with quickened heartbeats you will feel against your ankles as you pass through. After the first millennium, we were supposed to die out. You had your face pressed up against the coarse dyed velvet of the curtain, always looking out for your own transmigration. What colors you would wear, what cut of jewel, what kind of pageantry, if your legs would be tied down, if there would be wandering tribes of minstrels following with woodwinds in your wake. This work of mine, the kind of work which takes no arms to do, is least noble of all. It's peopled by wizards, the forlorn, the awkward, the blinkers, the spoon-fingered, agnostic lispers, stutterers of prayer, the flatulent, the closet weepers, the charlatans. I am one of those. In January, the month the owls nest in, I am a witness and a small thing altogether. The kingdom of ingratitude, kingdom of lies, kingdom of how dare I. I go on dropping words like little pink fish eggs, unawares, slightly illiterate, often on the mark, waiting for the clear whoosh of fluid to descend and cover them. A train like a silver Russian love pill for the sick at heart passes by my bedroom window in the night at the speed of mirage. In the next millennium, I will be middle-aged. I do not do well in the marrow of things. Kingdom of trick, kingdom of drug. In a lung-shaped suburb of Virginia, my sister will be childless inside the ice storm, forcing the narcissus. We will send each other valentines. The radio blowing out Vaughan Williams on the highway's purple moor. At 9 o'clock, we will put away our sewing to speak of lofty things, while in the pantry, little plants will nudge their frail tips towards the light we made last century. When I come home, the dwarves will be long in their shadows and promiscuous. The alley cats will sneak inside, curl about the legs of furniture, and close the skins inside their eyelids. Sleep. Orchids will be intercrossed and sturdy. The sun will go down as I sit, thin-armed, small-breasted, in my cotton dress, poked with eyelet stitches, a little lace, in the queer light left when a room snuffs out. I draw a bath, enter the water as a god enters water, fertile, knowing, kind, surrounded by glass objects which could break easily if mishandled or ill-touched. Everyone knows an unworshipped woman will betray you. There is always that promise. I like that. Kingdom of kinesis, kingdom of benevolent. I will betray as a god betrays, with tender-heartedness. I've got this mystic streak in me. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to some of my own work. This first one is called Love Me Not. I wrote it during my class last semester. Fun fact is that it's aligned on the opposite side of the page from usual, which my teacher had lots of questions about when she first saw it. The stream was shallow there. The grass and the ground rose at the same time in the distance that wasn't all that distance. And where we were, the banks were soft because they'd been beaten down and grass didn't grow there anymore. The last rain was hours ago and the footprints were worn away, sand easy to walk on, easy to dance on, so we did. I pulled at the hem of my shirt and thought about what I wanted to ask you, which was everything and nothing, and how there wasn't enough time to tell you what I wanted about myself, which was everything and nothing. I was falling, but not really. More like I was feeling the possibility of what I'd feel in the future. The moonlight turned our hair into silver and our eyes into darkness and our skin into silk. We were beautiful, just for a moment, and the night air tore the breath from my lungs the way we tore petals from weeds. Do you ever feel bad about doing that? People say weeds like a bad thing, but they're the ones that are supposed to be there, really, and we just have other ideas about what should and shouldn't be beautiful. And that plant worked awfully hard to grow those petals. only for us to walk into untouched places and think, this plant doesn't serve a purpose, and tear the petals off. Someone could say the same thing about us. I think our love grew like a weed, grassy and small, not like plants that we've cultivated to bear something useful. But maybe it was supposed to grow there, in the dirt between us. Do you know the definition of a weed? It's a plant that grows where it's not wanted, where it's in competition with the plants that are supposed to be there. God, didn't our love have to fight against everything? Wasn't it competing with every other thing? I wish we hadn't torn off the petals. A flower without petals isn't really a flower anymore, is it? Do you remember when we destroyed ourselves? Jumped into the water and drowned in the shallows, held hands until we let go of life and each other and washed ourselves away? Neither do I, because we didn't, but some days I wish we could go back and do just that. Then the moonlight could turn our hair silver, not time, and the darkness in our eyes would come from what we can't see, not what we've seen. We could rewind, and we could let go of each other without having to go on alone. Next is a poem that was part of a series I wrote over the summer. They were all about moths, and I decided to only include one of my moth poems for this, so this is my favorite one. It's called My Friend Saw a Luna Moth and Took a Picture of It Just for Me. Wouldn't it be nice to live for only a day, like moths do, pale and unaware of the moon they're named after? I would like to live for just a day, for every minute to last forever. I'd like to live for today instead of tomorrow, which never seems to come. What if tomorrow wasn't going to arrive? Would you feel more alive? Just 2 days, never adding up to more. Would it be nice if tonight was the last? If an evening spent in a parking lot could be beautiful and rare, the only one like it, the only night you have, wouldn't it be nice? Everything would be enchanting. A night spent sitting on a tire would be the most magical night of all. All the nights I have wouldn't add up to the kind of night a moth has. Next is a poem I wrote fairly recently, which is it was different originally, but then I drew connections between it and the autumn poem I read earlier. So the title is a snippet of that poem. It is called We're All Stars to Disappear or Die. How long were we meant to last? I'm so afraid. The trees alight, turn the clouds to ash. We rush to smash the sky. Our starry eyes are left as shards of glass. We were not meant to last. The stars have given all they can, and now we starve. The world bursts with fools who do not care, and the stars no longer love us. We are meant to be the last. Nothing can be done, but look at the sky. It will empty one distant day, but today the empty sky is falling, ashen snow filling our empty eyes. Nothing's left but a wish to love the sky. How long will we last? I wonder. If we love, if we can shed tears for the caring ones, will the waiting be easier? I stare at the sky, broken glass at my feet, trying to wish my eyes empty. My tears won't come. Okay, the next one is called Noctiluca, which is a type of bioluminescent algae. This is how you live. Yearning to be seen, underfoot among grains of sand, marooned as the shore recedes. Their gaze hardly touches you. Sometimes they see you in the darkest moments as they walk away. Then the water washes over you, hiding you, blinding you. They see you only at your brightest, when you burn yourself out to give them a carpet of stars. Living beings don't all create light the way you do. Some of us give light away, flashes of ourselves in the dark beneath sea foam, highlighting their footsteps as they leave. But they know this already. The ones who think that they can steal our luminescence and damn us for giving it away. This next one, funny story, when I was in workshop in my class for it, I have changed the title because I wanted to see if people would be able to tell sort of what the gesture was. And there was like a whole discussion where they were like, we're confused, maybe if you put a different title. And then I was like, I have another title that's way more specific. And they were like, well, tell us what it is. So I did. And everyone was like, oh, why didn't you tell us that? We could have saved 10 minutes. So this is the poem To My Shadow. I'll give you 3 guesses what the subject is. I have always hated finding comfort in the darkness where you breathe and live. On the bad days that manifest only as a knot in the throat and a lack of a voice, I reach for you. You are my second skin, shielding me, weighing me down. I would like to share my voice with you. We could be unstoppable. Some of us give light away, flashes of ourselves, a language only we understand. I am guilty of giving, and you simply fill in the spaces when I'm alone. Thank you for staying with me, though I can only love you in bright moments, on the rainy walks under lonely streetlights. So the last one is called No One Is Around to Hear It. I had the first idea when I took a walk in the woods fairly recently, and I ended up kind of lost on the side of a road off campus, which I just remembered I didn't tell my parents, and they are here, so hi. It was okay, my friend found me, but I had the original idea for this poem while I was walking, and then I was trying to write it, and I was trying to make it a villanelle, and then I remembered that I hate villanelles, and I've never written one, and it was like the day before my portfolio was due, so I didn't do a villanelle, and I ended up with this. If you must cut me down, leave my body where it lies. I look forward to learning the language of rot. Let my roots taste the air, and 1,000 twilights will strip my bark away. I hope I still have time. I have not yet reached high enough to catch the falling stars, but you've stolen my friends before their time, and I can't stop growing. When you cut me down, I know it won't be gentle. My neighbor broke their branches. My neighbor broke my branches as they fell, and I'm looking after their birds. I look forward to being a new sort of home. There are many creeping things, crawling things, who will love me more when I'm dead. I hope I will be good to them. I have mushrooms to grow, and rotting will be a glorious life.
Avery, thank you so much. You just did a wonderful job, and I want to say especially to you, thank you for sharing your work with us, because I know that is there's some vulnerability involved in that, and so you've done a wonderful job, and I just wanted to tell you thank you very much for that. Lovely poetry. I don't know if you know this, but April is National Poetry Month, so you are right on time. Yeah. Does anyone out there have any questions or comments that you'd want to share? If you do, feel free to jump in.
I do. It's Melora. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm using my earbuds tonight, and I don't know how well they're working. So how did you curate the poems of your own that you chose to do in this reading tonight? Out of all the things you've written.
Well, some of them, I was scrolling through like my Google documents, and I was like, okay, some of these are just like anxiety rambles that I wrote at 2 a.m. and I don't think I want to read those. Just like, those were a little bit too personal. And also this was sort of some of my more recent work, and also just work that I'm the proudest of, that I thought it would be nice to share.
Cool. I didn't know if there was a theme or something in particular that you were really focusing on right now.
I wasn't thinking, I mean, there are some themes that have been cropping up more commonly lately. There is a line in the Nocte Luca poem that I then took, and it was a line into my shadow, because my teacher suggested, she was like, this line you could delve into. So it ended up sort of, I based the next poem off of that. But there wasn't a specific theme that I had in mind when I put these together, no.
Okay, well, thank you.
I see some wonderful comments in the chat. Can you see the chat there?
And yes.
Okay, good. Anyone else have any questions or comments? I don't want to, I want to leave time, and I don't want to end us too early if anyone has any other questions or. It's just been a lovely evening. We really have enjoyed these Read to Me series. I'll just mention as you all think about it, if you do think of something, please just jump in.
I got one more if I could.
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
I could talk all night, so please shut me up. So the last poem you read before you started yours, I'm sorry, which one was that?
Domestic mysticism.
Yes. So there's a line in there or an image that I'm grappling with. There was something about putting their sewing away and then having talking on profound things or something along those lines near the end.
Yes.
Okay.
I found it.
Would you read just that line again, please?
At 9 o'clock, we will put away our sewing to speak of lofty things, while in the pantry, little plants will nudge their frail tips toward the light we made last century.
Okay, so at 9 o'clock, we'll put away our sewing and talk of lofty things. Why are those two things separated? Why can we not have these conversations while sewing? Why does that happen? Why is sewing or prior to 9 p.m. darkness, whatever, have to be mundane? Or what does that mean to you?
I mean, I don't necessarily think you can't be sewing and talking of lofty things, but that is sort of like a split attention, and it's more saying that like the speaker and their sister like have this specific time when they decide to speak of lofty things. Like they sort of planned it and they decide like, okay, yeah, we're gonna sew, and then at 9 o'clock we're gonna talk about the universe, or I don't know, lofty things. So it's just sort of like, I don't know, it's like both mundane and like very like there's sort of a like grandiose like formality and like, yes, now we will talk of lofty things. Who knows, maybe the things they talked about while sewing were the really lofty things.
Right. I guess it's the feminist in me that's jumping out saying, wait a minute, until it's black.
I'm sorry, we've lost you. We've lost your audio.
Oh, did that come back now?
Yes, there you go.
My internet connection is pretty unstable.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I just is bothered by that, as though there's some sort of a separation in time when women can speak then of, it has to be a planned for thing and not every thought is naturally assumed profound.
Yeah.
That's all I got, but thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to mention, if you haven't joined our e-newsletter, please visit our website at secondstageamherst.org and sign up for our e-newsletter. And I'm also just going to give a quick shout out to our coffee shop that's within our building called Baines Books and Coffee. And I like to mention it on here for our literary friends. If you're driving through town and want to stop by and get a book or something and have a wonderful beverage, I encourage you to stop by. And we'd also love to give you a tour of the building. So other than that, I'm going to give another quick plug for our upcoming movie series, which is happening on Friday nights in May. So there's also information about that on our website. One more chance if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, I will bid you all farewell for the night. Okay, well, thank you so much. Avery, you've just done a wonderful job. I just appreciate you participating in this so much.
Thank you so much for letting me.
Absolutely, absolutely. We so appreciate it. And thank you all for joining us. I hope you have a lovely evening. Thank you so much.